If someone is taking care of of someone with cancer, what advice would you give them?
That's a great question. My name's Dave, and I first heard about Ironwood in 2010 when my wife was re-diagnosed with breast cancer, and we were introduced to Dr. Clayton Paloe at that time. Apprehensive, not really sure what to expect. At that time, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the team, I just remember going and we had sessions, chemo sessions every 2 weeks with them, and everybody was friendly. You know, it's not a good situation, but everybody was welcoming. It has been a tremendous experience in a really bad situation. You know, they were just it's been a while since 2010. Most recently, you know, they kind of laid out the plan for us of what was going to happen, what to expect, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and kind of prepared us for everything. And the one thing for me as a caregiver that I didn't know was all the support that was going to be available for me personally. So it's just something that I never thought was available, as you have all these thoughts going through your mind of what to do and how to do it and when to do it. Looking back, probably the best I could. It hit fast. As my wife was diagnosed with glioblastoma, we were on vacation, and when I found out that on that night that she had a brain tumor, I can't remember if it was that night or the next night, I immediately called Dr. Paloe, and he responded to me in no time at all. And so I knew at that time that, you know, going back 10 years to our last experience with Ironwood to now, it was just like there was no lapse in time. We picked up right where we were at. And actually, Dr. Paloe had been Liz's oncologist since that time. So we've always been connected to Ironwood for the past 10 plus years. The one thing that a group provided me was to let me know it's okay to take care of myself. And if I could take care of myself, I could take care of everyone else, especially my wife. And that was probably the most comforting part of the journey, that I didn't have to do everything myself. And if I had any question whatsoever, I had a point person that would direct me to the next person. And that was, in my opinion, life-saving for me, because there was less stress. I knew exactly where to go, and I would get an answer to the next step, and then to the next step. So there's always that support from day one. You know, to know it's okay to have some personal time. I think as a caregiver, you're all of a sudden thrown into the disease. In this case, it was glioblastoma, and to know that I could go and have some personal time for myself was important, and to know that there were other people out there that could come in and help with my wife, and there were resources everywhere. And at the time, you think about cost and everything that's going to go through your mind, and there is no greater value as a caregiver than your personal time, because it helps the entire family in this situation.
If someone is taking care of someone with cancer, what advice would you give them?
That's a great question. Be present with your spouse, your parent, your child, whomever it might be. you can't have any expectations because the cancer is its own thing. It's gonna take its own course. Unfortunately, there are not so pleasant outcomes in that. And the best advice I would say is just know that you are never alone in a journey. You've heard it probably 1,000 times where cancer doesn't just affect the person, it affects the family and everybody around them, and that's true. And in that, you are not alone in any step in that journey, and hopefully it's to recovery or is to help them be comfortable and until they pass.
Can you tell me how you guys met and fell in love?
Yeah. Yeah. So my wife and I met on a blind date on Friday the 13th in 2001. Her best friend had known somebody that was a nurse, and this woman was bringing her child to the business that I was working at. So they had kind of set us up on on this blind date. We didn't know what to expect in this, and it's nothing we were looking for, but just what we needed at that time in our lives. And so, with all the other things that happened, and she had already been diagnosed with breast cancer at 29, and she shared that with me when we met. It didn't stop me from loving her, and it was never anything that we ever thought of in our relationship. But it was kind of a whirlwind romance. So we dated for a very short period of time. I asked her to marry me in that December that same year, with my family around, and we have 2 beautiful kids that are now 17 and 15. And she set us up for success as a family, and it was I see that now that she's no longer here, but everything she did from day one to the day she passed away, I truly believe she set us up for success. She adored her kids, and she went out of her way to do the things that a mom does for their children. And she's funny. And I see that in both of my kids. I see their passion for things, and it's neat to see the little things that kind of pop up unexpectedly, things that she used to do or say, and it's nice to see that in my kids. I think the one thing that she was, I see it in my kids too, is she's a fighter. She never let things bring her down. When she was diagnosed again in 2010 with breast cancer and with glioblastoma in 2019, she fought. And she fought for a purpose, and the purpose was her family. And that's what meant the most to her in her life, was her kiddos and me.